Hey everyone, welcome back to Mind Unscripted. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Hafsa, and I'm so excited to have you here with me today. If you've been following along, you know we've been talking about mental health topics, but today's episode is especially close to my heart because as a senior in high school myself, this one hits hard. We're talking all about academic stress, something I'm definitely dealing with right now. Seriously, I've got tests coming up this week, which I'm nowhere near ready for, and my SAT exam in just a couple of weeks. So trust me when I say I get it. The pressure definitely feels real. But it's not just me, right? We all feel it. Whether it's cramming for an exam at 2 a.m., trying to keep track of assignments, or just trying to survive the week without breaking down. Academic stress is real. So today, we're going to dive deep into practical strategies for managing that stress and honestly, how to keep your sanity when it feels like everything's piling up. So, let's break this down. Academic stress doesn't just show up when you're studying for exams. It's the buildup from balancing school, homework, extracurriculars, maybe a part time job, and then throw in trying to maintain some sort of social life. It's a lot. And sometimes it's not just about school itself. There's peer pressure, fitting in, friendship drama, and trying to figure out where you even belong. But before we jump into these other areas, let's start with the core of it, managing that stress. So, first things first, time management is your best friend. So, let's look into organization first. I can't stress this enough. And listen, I know everyone says this, but I really mean it. If you don't already have some kind of system in place to manage your time, start today. Whether it's a planner, Google Calendar, or an app on your phone, plan out your study sessions, homework, and even break times. Seriously, breaks are so important. You can't just work nonstop or you'll burn out fast. Try out a few different organization methods. What works for someone else doesn't have to work for you. Find what actually works for you and stick to it. I used to be the type of person to just kind of wing it and hope I remember when things are due. But as you can imagine, I learned it doesn't work out in my favor the hard way. So then I tried out bullet journaling. It was really helpful for me with the amount of customization and flexibility it offered. I could design my own layouts, track my tasks and deadlines, and visually manage my schedule in a way that fit my needs. The process of setting up my journal also became a relaxing thing that helped me satisfy my artistic side too, and it also helped me feel more in control and less overwhelmed. By creating to do lists, monthly overviews, and habit trackers, I could see exactly where my time was going and I could adjust my priorities accordingly. So, bullet journaling allowed me to blend organization with creativity and made it a valuable tool for managing my academic stress and staying on top of everything. But after 2 years of bullet journaling, it started feeling more like a chore to set up and maintain. I found myself spending more time designing layouts than actually using them. And honestly, I was losing interest in the designing aspect of bullet journaling altogether. So I decided to switch to pre made planners and digital tools because I really loved how organized bullet journaling made me feel and how put together everything was. But genuinely, I was just sick and tired of making everything from scratch. But I knew I still wanted that same level of like customization and organization that bullet journaling provided. So I was just in this phase where I was just trying to find something else that would meet my standards. So then I decided to switch to like Notion templates and Google Calendar because trust me, they're also very versatile and they also give you a lot of flexibility. So they became my go-to for scheduling and task management. They offered all the organization I needed without the time-consuming setup. I also started just using my notes app to jot down to-do lists and quick reminders. This shift allowed me to streamline my planning process and focus more on the actual work rather than on creating and maintaining my planner. Yes, I enjoyed it while I did it, but after a little bit, I kind of got tired of it and it wasn't really necessary for me anymore. But as I refined my approach to organization, I also explored techniques to enhance my productivity and focus. The Pomodoro technique, lifesaver. If you haven't tried it yet, it's simple. Work for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break, and after 4 sessions of these, take a longer break. It keeps you focused without feeling like you're chained to your desk for hours. Before you know it, you've already studied for like 3 hours and you've gotten through most of the content you need to get done. But it doesn't even feel like that much because you've been taking small breaks in between. Just make sure that you're not going on your phone and scrolling in your breaks, because then you definitely won't be going back to work on time. Use the break to get some fresh air or grab a snack or maybe go over your to-do list. Plus, those little breaks help reset your brain and keep you from getting overwhelmed. And speaking of being overwhelmed, when you've got 3 assignments due and two exams coming up all at once, breaking tasks into smaller, more manageable pieces can help a lot. Start by prioritizing what needs to be done first. Is it that essay due tomorrow or the test you've got next week? Focus on the more urgent tasks and take it step by step. Small steps add up, trust me. Now, let's talk about the pressure side of things. I'm sure a lot of us feel the pressure to do well, whether it's from ourselves, our parents, teachers, or even just wanting to keep up with everyone else. I know I definitely feel it, especially with the SATs looming. But something I learned is that putting so much pressure on yourself can backfire. Instead of motivating you, it can paralyze you. So, one thing I do when I start feeling that overwhelming sense of pressure is remind myself to take things one day at a time. I like to think of my future self in a way. What can I do today that will help future me feel less stressed? I write down small goals, and honestly, sometimes the goal is just start studying. Breaking it down that way makes everything feel more achievable. For example, studying for the SAT has felt like this huge, overwhelming task, and I don't even know where to begin, so I end up procrastinating it altogether. But taking some extra time to go through the syllabus and the content to study, and making a detailed schedule with exactly what I'll need to cover each day, made it a lot more achievable, and also motivates me to keep up with it. It doesn't feel nearly as daunting anymore since it's only a little every day, not study for the SAT on your to-do list. Instead, it's just review factorization. Also, be kind to yourself. Self-talk is a huge factor when it comes to handling pressure. Instead of constantly thinking, I'm gonna fail or I'll never get this done, switch to positive affirmations. Tell yourself things like, I'm doing my best and that's enough, or I've got this, even if it feels hard right now. It sounds really cheesy, but positive self-talk really does help. This one was big for me too. I used to be the type of person to expect perfection from myself, and no matter how much I prepared myself, it would never feel enough. I still expect perfection from myself, but I've redefined what perfection is to me now. To me, perfection is doing all the prep I planned on doing. This ties in closely with creating detailed study schedules and breaking it down. But as long as I've completed everything on that list to the best of my ability, I'll be fine. And guess what? I'm almost always really happy with my results too, because I gave myself enough time to prepare and let myself be satisfied with my preparation to take some of that load off of myself. It helps me think a lot clearer going into the test or presentation. I no longer cram for a test or look over things last minute, even though I've already finished studying, just in case, because I let myself trust myself with the preparation I did and all the hard work I put in, and let myself actually be confident, and I let myself actually be done studying when I'm done studying. Alright, shifting gears a bit, because school stress isn't just about grades and exams. A huge part of high school is navigating friendships, peer pressure, and all the drama that comes with it. It's like this whole other layer of stress that can make everything harder. Let's talk about peer pressure. Whether it's the pressure to fit in, to do what all your friends are doing, or even just the pressure to look like you've got it all together. It's a lot. The biggest tip I can give here is to remember that it's okay to say no. If your friends are pushing you to do something that you're not comfortable with, whether it's going out when you really need to study, or just making choices that don't align with your values and your goals, it's okay to step back. I know FOMO is real, but so is burnout. So put yourself first. On the flip side, friendships can be your biggest source of support. Talk to your friends about the stress you're feeling. Chances are they're going through it too, especially if they're in your classes. Having that support system can really help when things feel overwhelming. But if you're in a friendship that feels more like a competition or is draining your energy, it might be time to reevaluate that relationship. Because friendships should uplift you, not add to your stress. And then there's fitting in. Now, that's something I used to stress over constantly, always trying to figure out how to be part of the right group or just belong somewhere. But here's what I learned: being yourself is so much easier than trying to mold yourself into someone else's idea of who you should be. It took me a while to realize this. I know everyone said it, but you don't really accept it until you do it yourself and until you see it yourself, honestly. So, it took me a while to realize it, but the moment I stopped trying so hard and just embraced who I am, I found people who liked me for exactly that. So if you're feeling pressure to fit in, remember this: the right people will come into your life when you're being your authentic self. I've switched schools several times, so trust me when I say I know how it feels to be the new kid, just wanting to fit in and to be a part of something and feeling alienated. I used to put so much pressure on myself to make friends and force conversations, and when it didn't work, I'd blame myself, thinking there was something wrong with me for not fitting in. But at my previous school, I had a turning point. Instead of focusing on fitting in or trying to get people to like me, I put my energy into my own goals and just enjoyed being myself. And slowly, things started to fall in place. I felt more comfortable in my own skin, and before I knew it, I started making friends naturally. Now, at my current school, I've only been here for a couple of weeks and I already feel like I belong. What's crazy is that I didn't even have to try. I didn't go out of my way to make people like me. I just showed up as myself. That's when it hit me. When you're true to who you are, things just click into place, and the right people gravitate towards you without all the extra effort. Next, extracurriculars are a huge part of high school life, and they add another layer of stress. Whether it's sports, clubs, or volunteer work, managing these activities alongside academics can be overwhelming. It's so important to find a balance that works for you. First, evaluate your commitments. Are you involved in activities that you're passionate about? If so, great. If not, it might be worth reassessing which activities you want to prioritize. Sometimes we overcommit ourselves because we want to be involved in everything, but that can lead to so much burnout. It's okay to step back from certain activities if it's affecting your academic performance or your mental health. Extracurriculars can be such a tricky balancing act, honestly. For a while, I found myself signing up for everything: clubs, sports, volunteering, basically anything that looked good on paper. I didn't really think about whether I actually wanted to do these activities or if they even aligned with my interest. I was so focused on building this impressive resume that I ended up overwhelming myself. I'd run from one meeting to another, squeezing in homework wherever I could and feeling totally burnt out by the end of the day. There were times when I just lost motivation altogether. I went from trying to do everything to not wanting to do anything at all. It felt like I was just going through the motions, dragging myself to activities I didn't care about anymore, which only added to the stress I was already feeling from school. But now, I learned to find balance. I realized that it's okay to not be involved in everything. The key is focusing on what genuinely brings you joy and fulfillment. For me, that turned out to be things like this podcast. I'm passionate about it, so it doesn't feel like another thing on my to-do list. It's actually something I look forward to. The point is, don't push yourself to the point of burnout by doing extracurriculars just for the sake of doing them. Stick to things you truly enjoy and that give you a break from the academic pressure. It's better to excel in a few activities you're passionate about than to spread yourself thin trying to do it all. Plus, when you're genuinely interested in what you're doing, it's easier to manage your time and feel motivated to keep going. So to balance all of this, create a balanced schedule. Just like with academic tasks, organizing your extracurriculars is crucial. Allocate specific times for each activity and stick to it. For example, if you have soccer practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays and a club meeting on Wednesdays, make sure that these are scheduled as part of your weekly plan. This way, you're not cramming everything into one week or letting things overlap. Next, set realistic goals. For each extracurricular, set achievable goals. If you're in a debate club, maybe your goal is to improve your public speaking skills or prepare for a specific competition. By setting these clear, manageable goals, just like for your academics, you can track your progress and stay motivated without feeling overwhelmed. Besides all of this, there's also a lot of stress surrounding university applications and just stress in general about what you want to do in your future. As a senior, applying to universities has been adding a whole new level of stress for me. From writing personal statements to gathering letters of recommendation, the process can feel daunting. So, here's how to manage the stress of university applications. First, start early. Trust me, the earlier you begin, the less stressful the process will be. I learned this the hard way. Don't wait until the last minute to start writing your personal statement or asking for recommendation letters. Set a timeline for each part of the application process and stick to it. Number two, break it down. Just like with studying, break down the application process into smaller tasks. For instance, instead of thinking, I need to finish my personal statement, break it down into outline my personal statement, draft the introduction, edit the body, and so on. Tackling these smaller tasks one at a time makes the whole process a lot more manageable, both literally and in your head. Number three, seek support. Don't hesitate to ask for help, whether it's from a teacher, counselor, or even family. Getting feedback on your personal statement or having someone review your application can make a big difference. Sometimes, an outside perspective can just help you refine your ideas and present yourself more effectively. And lastly, practice self-care. The university application process can be intense, so make sure to take care of yourself. Schedule regular breaks, stay active, and don't forget to eat well. Remember, your mental and physical health is just as important as getting into your dream school. Now, let's talk school drama. Honestly, it can feel like it never ends, right? Whether it's rumors, arguments, or just unnecessary drama, it can drain you emotionally. I've been there, and trust me, the best way to handle it is to stay out of it. It's easy to get sucked in, especially when it involves friends or people you know, but staying focused on your own priorities, like your grades and your well-being, will save you so much unnecessary stress. If you find yourself in the middle of drama, though, communication is key. Talk things out calmly and don't let your emotions take over. Most of the time, the drama is blown way out of proportion, and addressing it head on can clear up a lot. But if it's something that's not worth your time, feel free to walk away. Not everything deserves your energy, and protecting your mental health is way more important than any temporary drama. Now, back to organization, because this is such a big part of managing stress. Another helpful tip is setting boundaries with your time. If you're someone who tends to overcommit, like saying yes to everything, it's time to start saying no. Protect your study time. If you know you have a big test coming up, don't feel bad about skipping a social event or taking a step back from extracurriculars. Boundaries are there to protect your well-being. And let's not forget about scheduling breaks. Yes, breaks are that important. Your brain can only focus for so long before it starts to lose efficiency. So whether it's a short walk outside, a quick YouTube break, or even grabbing a snack, taking care of yourself throughout the day will make you more productive overall. So don't forget, when you're writing your schedule down or when you're making your plan for the day, for the week, make sure you schedule in your breaks, because you don't want to just schedule all your tasks and then have no time for breaks and just try to squeeze something in and then feel guilty for it because it's not on your schedule. Next, let's talk about handling comparison. We all do it, comparing ourselves to others, whether it's grades, extracurriculars, or social life. It's so easy to look at someone else and think, why can't I have it together like they do? But you know what? Most of the time, the people we're comparing ourselves to are going through their own stuff too, and we just can't see it. Instead of getting caught up in the comparison trap, focus on your own path. Your journey is different, and that's okay. Celebrate your progress. Focus on your own path, and no matter how small, celebrate your progress. Did you finish a study session without procrastinating? That's a win. Did you stay calm during a really stressful day? Celebrate that. Your achievements matter, even if they look different from someone else's. In addition to academics, extracurriculars, and university applications, many of us juggle a busy schedule that might include part-time jobs, family responsibilities, or other personal commitments. It's easy for all of these responsibilities to pile up and add to your stress. So prioritize your tasks. When your schedule is packed, prioritizing them becomes crucial. Identify which tasks are most important and need to be done immediately versus those that can wait. Use a time management tool or a simple to-do list to keep track of what needs to be done and when. Learn to delegate. If possible, delegate tasks where you can. For instance, if you're part of a group project, share the workload with your teammates. If you have household responsibilities, see if there's a way to share those duties with your siblings. Delegating tasks can help lighten your load and reduce stress. And also, embrace flexibility. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, things don't go as planned. Be flexible and adapt to changes in your schedule. If an unexpected event or responsibility comes up, adjust your plans accordingly. Being adaptable just helps reduce the stress and keeps you from feeling overwhelmed when things don't go as expected. So, to wrap it up, I want to remind you and myself, let's be real, that academic stress is normal. It's part of the process, but it doesn't have to take over your life. By staying organized, managing your time effectively, and taking care of your mental health, you can handle the pressure and still enjoy your time in school. Remember to be kind to yourself, take breaks when you need them, and seek support from friends and family. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and if you found this episode helpful, feel free to share it with your friends and don't forget to subscribe for more mental health discussions and tips. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember, we're all in this together. You're not alone.